Over the past few days, I've read hundreds of comments from XRP investors asking the exact same question. Has SWIFT finally replaced XRP? Some people are saying SWIFT's new blockchain means XRP is no longer needed. Others insist XRP is still the future of cross-border payments. And if you've been trying to figure out who's right, you're definitely not alone. The problem is that most of these conversations skip one very important detail. Before we can answer whether SWIFT has replaced XRP, we first have to understand what SWIFT actually does. Because here's the truth. Just because two companies operate in the same industry doesn't automatically mean they solve the same problem. Think about it this way. Imagine you order something online. The store sends you a confirmation email telling you your package is on the way. That email is important because it communicates information, but the email itself doesn't deliver the package to your front door. A delivery company does that. Those are two completely different jobs. And that's one of the biggest reasons there's so much confusion surrounding SWIFT and XRP. For decades, SWIFT has been one of the world's largest financial messaging networks. Its job has been helping banks securely exchange payment instructions with one another. In simple terms, SWIFT tells banks what needs to happen, but the actual movement of money, the settlement, can involve completely different systems depending on the institutions and payment rails being used. Now recently, SWIFT announced new blockchain-related developments, and almost immediately social media exploded. Some people claimed this proved SWIFT had replaced Ripple. Others said XRP had become obsolete overnight. But that's where we need to slow down, because headlines don't always tell the full story. Just because SWIFT is modernizing parts of its infrastructure doesn't automatically answer the question everyone cares about. How will money actually move from one institution to another in the future? That's a much bigger question, and it's one that can't be answered with a single headline or one announcement. Another reason this topic has become so confusing is because people often mix together completely different technologies. You'll hear terms like SWIFT, Ripple, RippleNet, XRP, XRP Ledger, tokenization, stablecoins, and blockchain used almost interchangeably, as if they all perform the exact same function. They don't. Each of those technologies was designed to solve a different part of the financial system, and unless we separate those roles, it's very easy to reach the wrong conclusion. That's why I don't think the real question is whether SWIFT launched something new. The real question is much simpler. Did SWIFT actually replace the role that XRP was designed to perform? Or are people comparing two technologies that were never solving the exact same problem in the first place? Because once you understand that difference, the entire debate starts to look very different. So let's answer the question that sits at the center of this entire debate. What's the difference between messaging and settlement? Because once you understand this, you'll also understand why so many people reach completely different conclusions about XRP. Imagine you're buying a house. Your real estate agent sends documents back and forth. Your lawyer reviews the contracts. Your bank confirms the payment instructions. All of that is communication, but none of it means ownership has actually changed. The transaction isn't complete until the money is transferred and the property officially changes hands. That's settlement. In simple terms, messaging tells everyone what should happen. Settlement is when the value actually moves. And that's why many people argue that messaging and settlement shouldn't be confused. Now, does that automatically mean XRP will handle every future settlement? No, descarizo. And this is where I think some influencers go too far. I've seen people confidently claim that every bank will eventually use XRP. I've also seen others confidently say XRP has already been replaced forever. The reality is that neither claim has been officially proven. And that's why it's important to separate confirmed facts from personal expectations. Here's what we do know. SWIFT has spent years modernizing its infrastructure and introducing blockchain-based initiatives to improve communication between financial institutions. That's real. At the same time, Ripple has spent years building payment technology focused on making value transfer faster and more efficient. That's also real. The important point is that these developments don't automatically cancel each other out. Think about the internet for a second. Email exists, cloud storage exists, video calls exist. All three use the internet, but each solves a different problem. Nobody says video calls replaced email. They simply perform different functions. Financial technology works in much the same way. One system can specialize in communication, another can specialize in liquidity, another can specialize in settlement, and in many cases, they may even interact with each other rather than compete directly. That's why I think one of the biggest mistakes investors make is assuming there has to be only one winner. Modern financial infrastructure is becoming increasingly interconnected. Banks use multiple payment networks. Corporations use multiple software platforms. Even central banks are experimenting with different blockchain technologies at the same time. So the future may not look like one network replacing every other network. It may look like multiple systems working together where each provides its own advantage. Now let's talk about another question that appeared repeatedly in the comments. What about stablecoins? Some investors believe stablecoins eliminate the need for XRP as a bridge asset. Others completely disagree. The truth is, stablecoins and bridge assets solve related, but not always identical problems. Stablecoins are designed to maintain a stable value, making them useful for payments and digital dollars. A bridge asset, on the other hand, is designed to efficiently connect different currencies and pools of liquidity during a transaction. Whether stablecoins eventually reduce the demand for bridge assets, or whether both continue serving different roles, is something that the market itself will decide over time. And that's exactly why nobody can honestly say today that XRP has already been replaced. Because the financial system is still evolving, banks are still testing, institutions are still experimenting, and many of the largest tokenization projects are only just beginning. So after looking at everything, here's what I think. There simply isn't enough evidence to say that SWIFT has replaced XRP. What we do know is that SWIFT continues to improve its messaging network, while Ripple continues building technology focused on faster settlement, liquidity, and tokenized asset infrastructure. Those are real developments. But saying one has completely replaced the other goes far beyond what has actually been confirmed. The financial industry is changing quickly, and many of these systems are still being tested, expanded, and integrated. That's why I think investors should be careful about believing absolute claims, whether they're extremely bullish or extremely bearish. Instead of asking, has XRP been replaced, a better question might be, what role will XRP play as digital finance continues to evolve? That's the question the market will answer over time, not social media. Now I'd like to hear your opinion. Do you think SWIFT and XRP will eventually work alongside each other, or do you believe one will ultimately replace the other? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many comments as I can. If you enjoyed this fact-based breakdown and want more XRP videos that separate facts from speculation, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Ojon XRP Insights, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.